Vote, elections, party, campaigns. What are these words? In this PPT, I'll be explaining that. India is a socialist, secular, democratic republic and the largest democracy in the world. Socialist means it implies social and economic equality. Secular. It clearly stated that there is no separation between religion and state and everyone is equal before the law and all the religions are accepted by everyone. Democratic Republic. The term indicates that the head of the state is elected by the people. Next, we have the Election Commission of India. This is an independent body and it supervises the nomination of candidates, registers political parties, monitors the election campaign, including the funding and exponential by candidates. Not only this, it even organizes the polling booths where voting takes place and looks after the counting of votes and the declaration of results. Next, we have this structure, the Central Government of India. Under Central Government of India, there are three pillars: executive, legislature of parliament and judiciary. In executive, we have the head of state, the president, vice president, cabinet minister, whose head is the prime minister, and their job is to pass laws made by legislature. Then, legislature of parliament. We have the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and their job is to make different laws. Then we have judiciary, which is basically Supreme Court of India, and their job is to solve conflicts between executive and legislature, public related matters or conflicts. Next, we have the State Government of India. It is the same structure, and currently the elections that are going on are the Vidhan Sabha elections. In English, we call it the Legislative Assembly or MLA. So here are some of the important roles of the central government. One of them is to finance, so collect taxes, allocate funds for state affairs, then commerce, national defenses, foreign affairs, all laws necessary and proper, communication, budget, so they allocate funds in various sectors. Some important roles of state government are internal security, education, agriculture, finances, reservation of bills, transport, water and electricity supply, budget, and issue licenses. So basically, when we people of India go into two types of elections. When we are electing for national affairs, we are electing member of parliament who sit in Lok Sabha and their head is the prime minister. But when we are electing for state affairs, we are electing MLA, which is member of legislative assembly. They sit in Vidhan Sabha and their head is the chief minister. So the current elections are for the state affairs. We all have the right to vote. We elect our head of state. These are some of the words that I'll be explaining further on. Do keep in mind because we have a quiz at the end. So our first term is elections. What are elections? Elections will be held for Legislative Assembly, like I said before, MLA. 403 seats will be in UP, 117 in Punjab, 17 Uttarakhand, 16 Manipur and 14 Goa. After the elections, the MLAs belonging to the ruling party in majority, will elect their leader who will become the chief minister for the next 5 years. Have constituency. India is divided into different areas for the purpose of elections. These areas are called electoral constituencies. The voters who live in an area elect one representative. In Lok Sabha, the constituency is 543 seats. Assembly constituency vary from state to state. For example, UP has 403 constituency seats. And like I said before, I explained the others as well. So if we take the example of UP is divided into 403 constituencies from where the candidates will file the nominations for the post of MLA. Now let's talk about political parties. As per latest publication dated 23rd September 2021 from Election Commission of India, the total number of parties registered was 2,858 with 8 national parties, 54 state parties and 2,796 unrecognized parties. So this is one of the regional party, an example which is the Samajwadi Party, and the national parties we all are aware of like BJP, Congress and so on. Discussed a lot about the parties and the different terms. Now, what are candidates? A candidate is basically an applicant who files nomination for contesting election for a post like MLA or MP. So, as per legal provisions, a period of 7 days is provided for the filing of nominations after the notification is issued. So, for example, Yogi Adityanath filed the nomination from Gorakhpur constituency, and Akhilesh Yadav files nomination from Karhal constituency. So, I'm pretty sure you must have heard both of these names in the news a lot recently. And right now, they're just candidates in the nomination part. Later on, if they win the elections, they'll become MLA. And then all the MLAs can vote for them to be the head of MLAs, which is basically the chief minister. We have the polling station. Polling station is basically a building, such as a school or a community center, where the voting takes place during an election. So in this image, you can see how it all goes on. First we enter, we go to the polling officer 1, who is in charge of marked copy. So basically, he will check your name. If you're there on the list, he will then check your voter ID to verify. Then you go to the polling officer 2, who applies ink on your finger. And the polling officer 3 is in charge of changing the paper in the EVM so that you can vote. Then you vote and then you can exit and you've given the vote. The presiding officer is just there to spectate and be in charge of what's going on. So if there's any problem, then only the presiding officer comes in role. As of voting, the most important person is the voter. So we all are voters. A person who is above 18 years has the right to vote in India at an election and has a voter ID card. A voter ID card is a legal document which shows that you have right to vote and you are allowed to vote. Next, we have the EVM. The EVM is basically the electronic voting is the standard means of conducting elections using electronic voting machines in which we basically click on the button if we want to vote and then we can vote. Next, we have the NOTA, which means none of the above, which means if you don't want to vote for anyone, you can just click on none of the above and you can say that I voted for no one. Even though we all have a right to vote, it is our responsibility to vote. Even if we don't like a candidate or we don't want to support, we should still go and vote and we should click on Nota so that everyone knows that you voted, even if you don't like any candidates. So you click on none of the above. This is a message that everyone should spread, because even if you keep saying and that I don't like any government, I do not want to vote, you shouldn't do that, because it's our responsibility and we as the citizens of India, we should vote and select our candidate. This is the chart, the assembly elections of 2022. You can see the dates of it. And I really hope that this presentation helped you, and I hope you use this further on going as well and share it with others as well. Thank you.